Hello and welcome back to the OCS. That was an interesting one. That was a slugfest. There were a lot of words to describe that game. But we're moving on. This is Max. I'm Bryce. Game number 3 is going to be UTS. What's the opposite of undefeated?
Winless.
Winless team in the league taking on Emprox.
Yeah, but it's also kind of the game I'm most excited for, as I said at the start, because, I mean, some of it's personal reasons, knowing people on both the teams, and this little bit of the Emprox curse that I may have been inflicting onto that side. I think there's a real chance that UTS finally takes one. And with the new roster as well, this could be it.
That's the big thing, right? Because take a look at this roster. Cadence and Frolic are the only two names that we all recognize coming into today. Peekaboo will be in the mid lane. Yaylay is a name that's been around the OPL/OCS scene for a fairly long time, and Midas in the top side. So this is a complete roster overhaul. Not sure of the reasons behind the scenes. Maybe looking at this is kind of the refreshment, the invigoration of the roster that they need to start picking up some wins here.
It might be, but it's also surprising to me because when I used to think of UTS, I was just like Hyper and Friends, because Hyper was the shining star, at least in my opinion, on this team, except for, you know, that one game that we saw them lose. Well, actually, they've lost every game. True. I do remember him just getting stomped one time in lane.
Yeah.
But for the most part, he usually was the one gold star on the team when they've been struggling. That said, he's no longer on the team. I use gold star appropriately because we're seeing Midas. Maybe he can add more gold stars.
Yeah, potentially is the case. On the other side of the coin, though, Emprox is going to be the same roster coming in this week. And they're a team that, like, in terms of the ladder, yes, they sit in the middle. But really, in my head, they do kind of sit in the middle of the league as the average, right? Like, this is a team that can work together very well. They have good performances from all over the map at different times. And I feel like consistency is their big thing. If they can have these good performances at the same time, I feel like they can look like a very good team. They took down Gravitas Academy last week. They're one of the strong contenders in the OCS this year in a very convincing fashion, I think. And so if this is a team that can certainly challenge upwards, and it is about seeing kind of that growth week to week from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, because I think a lot of their wins come from their picks and bans. Like, they play very simple team comps when they win.
Yeah.
The one last week in particular was a very, front-to-back team fight. They had a strong front line protecting the Sivir, who was just able to siege, boom, 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 boom. And they also were able to snowball that, so it just becomes super strong super quickly. I enjoy simple team compositions. I think they are most effective. Unless,
definitely the easiest.
Yeah.
But I will say they've also played like Pike stuff as well.
True.
Berserker on the top side has played a Darius game, has played a Pike game, so he's a big like shining star for them. And even in games where he performs poorly, it's the little things that I really like. There was a Renekton game, I'm not sure when it was, looking back at the VOD, but he was like a 0-2 Renekton, and it's like an immediate flash stun onto an AD carry, like randomly in the team fight to try and turn that one around. It's the little things that kind of show promise. Even when you are like mega losing a game, like your lane is going disastrously, those things kind of do stand out to me as moments that certainly matter, even not just in the context of that game, but the context of the player overall.
Yeah, I do agree in a lot of points. I mean, when I think of Emprox, unfortunately, though, because I've casted them, I've only seen them lose. Like, I haven't seen them win on stream yet. And I always go back to that first time I cast them with Paladin on that Evelynn getting that huge lead, and then the 1, 2, 3 strikes.
Oh, yeah.
That said, what we saw last week, they do know how to close games now. So I don't think that sort of situation is something that would happen again. Emprox, in my opinion, definitely the heavy favorites in this one, just because when you look at results, you look at UTS running a new team. But that new team could also be that, surprise Achilles heel/downfall.
Completely new top side. Cadence has been kind of filling holes in the squad when they have been struggling to fill the roster here across the board, but now he's rejoining his longtime support in Frolic in the bottom lane. So kind of back to normalcy with a bunch of new players, and I feel like this is going to be the start of this team's journey. Like, where do we see these guys in a couple of weeks? Like, how do they look right now? I feel like certainly sitting at 0-6, not where you want to be during the season, but it's going to be a rough time to even challenge to make it to playoffs. But this is sort of that growth point from this team here on out.
Well, they have to win out, right? Like, if top 6 teams make it, you think you would need at least a 6-5 record, but they're already 0-6. So not only do they need to win out, but they need help, and maybe a couple teams get knocked down to 5-6, and they get that tiebreak run. Something.
Yeah, like you need some things to go your way, certainly.
You need some shenanigans, as we're seeing bans coming out. Very interesting bans out of Emprox, actually. Vayne, Yasuo, Yuumi.
So Vayne targeted at the AD carry, of course. Yuumi makes a lot of sense, but don't have the best read on these guys coming in. So Yasuo kind of out of the blue. This does mean a bunch of stuff is left open. Akali, Sylas, the Aurelia, of course, being hovered right now. A bunch of the power picks on the current patch left up for grabs, and the Aurelia is going to be the most prioritized here for UTS.
Not too surprising to see Aurelia go first, a bit of a flex. Do you think that's going to go on Midas or Peekaboo?
I have literally no idea.
Hard to tell because we don't know these players.
I have genuinely no clue. Yeah, that's my answer.
Well, I don't see Aurelia as the type of champion who usually goes stopwatch, and I'm really going to be running this gold pun as much as possible, so I don't think Midas wants to go golden on Aurelia. I want to see something different in the top lane.
Wait, what? What is the gold pun?
King Midas.
I have no idea what that is.
King Midas in, I think it's like Greek lore, or like, yeah, the Greek mythos or whatever. He was the guy who was cursed and everything he touched turned to gold.
Okay, I've never heard
Okay, so all these things I've been saying, it's like,
no.
oh, those gold stars for Midas.
No,
Woo!
I'm just sitting here like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Yeah, King Midas in the golden touch. He was cursed and everything he touched turned to gold, and then he touches his daughter, and then, like, because it's a Greek tragedy.
Yeah,
always ends sadly.
Okay, interesting. Sivir and Akali is going to be locked in here for Mprox, so it's taking a power pick of their own. An AD carry that has seen a bunch of success as well. That is a very early Lux lock-in here. I feel like, given that stuff like Nautilus is still up and available and is kind of at the height of the meta in terms of engaged supports, definitely a brave call here from Frolic to lock that one in. I will say, can be played in the mid lane. If that is an Akali answer, then it's not necessarily going to be in the hands of their support, but most likely I expect will go down there.
Peekaboo also going to lock in the Hecarim for UTS. I expect that to go most likely jungle the way how things are going so far.
Yep.
So, return of the Ghost Horse. One of my favorite junglers to watch just because of like how horrifying they are when they cut enemies down.
I feel like it's been a little bit of time before we've seen that Hecarim jungle. I think Frogodog played it last week in the top lane though. So it has been that time. And there we go. The Nautilus is just locked in. Sivir Naut, very easy lane. You give him the move speed. He has the dash to get into the backside. You don't even need to start with the hook if you have the Sivir, right? That's on the hunt. You just walk up, press your R button. You can save the CC, use your auto attacks. It's very, very easy to lock someone down if you have the opportunity to push on forwards, and that looks to be the case here for Artek and Mboma. Artek has played a bunch of the hook champs so far. First couple of weeks in the OCS were on Thresh. More recently is on the Nautilus, so definitely comfortable down there for Mprox.
Yeah, and it comes back to that talking point I said about Mprox at the start of this. They kind of like simple team compositions, more so in the bot lane because Berserker has, you know, his aggressive top side.
He's the one with flair on this roster.
Yeah, someone has to have something, right? But for the most part, they're generally a pretty, you know, safer team. So I'm not surprised to see that sort of bot lane come out. Zaya and Kindred being banned. We've seen a lot of Kindred bans today.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. We saw on Leverage that 7, he has had a very good game. BitConnect, of course, known here, Paladin, for the Kindred, I think, around the traps and solo queue and scrims behind the scenes and stuff like that. So kind of does make a lot of sense, especially when you lock in something like the Hecarim, the Lux. This is all looking like a very one-button composition here already from UTS. If you can just stand in as like a Sivir, Ricochet everyone, stand in a Lambs, Respite of the Kindred, could be very annoying to deal with. So Ben is going to be hitting the bench there. Do they opt in for another jungle ban? Maybe something like the Sejuani. Actually, no, that's already been taken away.
Rek'Sai,
the Rek'Sai, yes.
Jarvan still available.
Couple of options.
Surprised to see him go down, but no, it's going to be the Olaf. I mean, we've seen Paladin on the Olaf. I'm pretty sure it was a Berserker actually who we saw on the Olaf.
Not too sure, but even then, like Olaf is just a good champion. He's just a good-ass jungler right now. Clears camps very quickly. If he gets ahead, can be very obnoxious. You have a lot of versatility. You can go for the redemption, like I'm a support Olaf and just play for the team comp. You can play like very aggressive, go for the Black Cleaver, I think we saw from Ubisoft earlier today. But the Rek'Sai is going to be the lock-in there for Paladin. Yeah,
the Rek'Sai was left up. Paladin will be taking that in the jungle. What does UTS need to finish this composition? And Azir hover right now. I've been seeing a lot of Azirs today as well.
Yeah. Kind of being picked up as answers to Akali, because we haven't been seeing a lot of Akali bans. I feel like Akali is actually a fairly difficult champion to make work on the competitive stage. In solo queue, it's like kills all over the place. It's very easy to snowball, but we saw Seaman, I feel like on the Diacubs, fall victim to like the side lane Akali factor where you want to make things happen, but constantly getting flanked. But this is a very long-range composition here with the Kennen and the Ezreal now locked in from UTS.
Yeah, I think that actually means we're going to be seeing the Aurelia go mid on the Peekaboo, and that'll probably be Kennen on Midas in the top side. There's that Pyke. We've seen it before from Berserker. Is it going to be coming back this time? How do you like Pyke into Kennen?
Interesting matchup. Very rough early, but Pyke is definitely just about playing with your jungler, getting access to the lane, and you just want to get your Tiamat, get your Mobies, and start roaming all over the place. So Berserker has a proven track record rather on this champion. Keen to see him get it round number 2. And this is an interesting game. These are two very non-standard drafts, I think. Once again, we are seeing the Lux on blue side here for UTS, but Emprox certainly have opportunities in the early game to look for with a Nautilus and a Rek'Sai.
That they do. I'm also liking the sheer amount of hooks that don't involve Braum coming out on the Emprox side as well. The Nautilus and the Pike.
You really had to try to get that one in there. That was just shoved in.
Well, I didn't get to finish my point on that. The Qs do similar things without the actual hook element involved. That is my point. It's a skill shot that ends in CC.
Great point. Great job. But, of course, this is going to be game number 3, UTS versus Emprox. Completely new roster here for UTS, and interested to see how they do stack up with the rest of the league. Over the halfway point of the split so far, a bunch of very volatile matchups this game. Akali into Aurelia, Kennen into Pyke, and some junglers that can definitely make things happen early.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to foresee this game turning into a snowball for either UTS or Emprox, depending on how the top half of this map goes. Why it's going to be super important to follow the initial pathing out of each of these junglers to see who will make that first move, who will respond appropriately. With a Sivir Nautilus versus an Ezreal Lux, I don't foresee first blood happening on the bot side of the map unless something crazy goes down.
Yeah, if something's going to happen, it's definitely going to be Emprox committing for a kill. It's going to be off the back of a hook landing, and if not, you expect that the Ezreal, the Lux, to just be kind of throwing out Qs here and there. That's the big thing about Lux support, is that you think about Lux traditionally as like a mid laner, and it's like you're just poking with the E, like wave clearing at the same time. If you get the double value of like hitting them and the wave, that's a very good situation. But Lux support doesn't care about E that much. It's really just like sitting at rank 1 is a passive proc. And the mana cost on E, I think at rank 1 is something like 70 or 80, and the mana cost on Q is like 40. So it's almost a 50% drop. And that makes your Q, the CC, inherently spammable. You have a big mana pool, especially when you build towards the Athenes. So if you get time, which last game, unfortunately, Mog didn't, to just like poke them away, like throw ability after ability, over the long game, over the course of a laning phase, the War of Attrition definitely is there for the Lux.
And it also, correct me if I'm wrong here, I might not have noticed it in the past couple of games, but this seems to be the first time junglers have opted to do the ward back, get the scanner.
Yeah, both of them done it here. Yeah.
This is the first time I think they've done that today. I do like that strategy. I think it is effective because it helps set up those ganks. Meanwhile, Midas is walking straight into Berserker. Paladin is there to help as well. But Emprox is in a 2v3 situation. They need to be careful. Midas is low, though. Might back out. Livid has arrived to try and push people away. Yaeli stepping in very deep. He might be the one who goes down. First blood going to Live, and they want more. Peekaboo is definitely trying to buy time, but he gets hooked back into his Doom. That should be a second kill picked up. I believe it will go to Paladin. It does.
And you hate to see it. A start of the game, 0-2 on the UTS side of the coin. Yaeli, no flash, of course. This is an Ignite Smite Hecarim. Thought he had the backup of his team, just kept committing for that play, but a little bit of a disconnect there and falls down immediately. And as soon as there is a numbers mismatch level 1, auto attacks mean everything. So the commit was there from Emprox. Very easily able to clean up the second kill.
Please, no more mentioning of the disconnect word. We got enough of that last game.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a communication mishap or failure to communicate, but I don't want to use that DC word anymore. I think it's bad mojo moving
bad
forward.
Omens. I can get behind that. Not going to help the start of UTS nonetheless either way, though. Ignite Hecarim definitely wants to make things happen early. Starting late on your camps due to dying and having to walk no leash on the bottom side of the map is certainly not the start you want, and especially for a lane like this Pyke into Kennen, he's just going to get bullied fairly early. He's going to be using the passive, the W, to heal up as much as possible, and given that he starts the game with 2 assists, certainly going to hit his item breakpoints and be able to leave the lane much earlier than you would expect.
Yeah, I'm also just thinking back to that level 1. Sorry, my mind's kind of still on that one right now, only because that was definitely not the start that UTS was looking for, because this is that big debut of that big 3, mid-jungle top laner, their opening play and their opening start, and they just failed invade. It's just, hopefully they can turn it around.
Yeah, because I look at that start and I'm like, Berserker just killed himself. Like, starts channeling the Q. All he has is a single jungler on his side in Paladin, and like Akali is in mid lane, right? He's very far away. But fortunately, on the other side, Midas, he starts the E, tries to hit him with a passive, and Start hitting him with the auto attacks with the Doran's Blade, so no real lockdown from an Aurelia, Hecarim, and a Cannon level 1 unless they do land the Aurelia stun, and it certainly wasn't the case to be able to follow up, so interesting start. Also more interesting that it did go to the favor of Emprox. Yeah, Artek.
Big surprise, and like I believe the first blood went onto Lived as well, onto that Akali, the kind of champion that you don't want to snowball. They were also able to save both of their summoners, so that kill pressure is definitely going to be seen more later. Actually, Lived wasn't able to back and sort of take advantage of that first blood gold because it was still a bit too early, but when these first backs go down, that will definitely play a factor.
Yeah, it certainly is, and the jungle is going to be the biggest difference as well, of course. Already 2 camps up with a reset, given that Yele died, so he started late, also has a gold deficit, so the extra longsword is there from Paladin, given that first couple of kills and the assist. Definitely able to clear out camps much quicker than he should. May have found himself access to the top side. Sweeps through an already unwatered bush.
Oh, no.
Midas also just used the E. That is...
Cooldown's not his favor, but Berserker is quite low. Maybe Midas can get one before he possibly goes down. It doesn't look to be the case. Paladin with the kill.
Uses every single button, has the flash available, but once Rek'Sai is behind you, there's no getting out of that one. Wave frozen in front of the opponent's turret as well, so Berserker's going to reset, buy some items, and TP back to this lane with the cannon. That's a situation that's only going from bad to worse.
It is, as Paladin is just getting further and further ahead in this game. Already 2-0-1, 5 minutes in, 100% kill participation, where he needs to be. Like, easy gank happening that top side of the map is ahead in jungle clear as well. I think Emprox might be playing around this jungler this game.
Yeah, I think that'd be a smart decision. Already 2-0. We'll get access to multiple waves, and really just wanting to open up the map is kind of the name of this comp, right? Once again, you have a Sivir comp with double side laning carries, so she can just eventually be deployed in the mid lane. Akali can have free reign of one side, Berserker on the pike gets free reign of the other. And when your comp is good at what the enemy's comp does, and you have a lead, the game does tend to be incredibly easy. There is fairly little room for recourse there.
As once again, actually looking at the map, Paladin making his way top once more. This time, though, it will be spotted by that control ward, so I don't see Midas making the same fatal mistake he did before. A bit of a break.
Liv just level 6.
Is actually in a bit of trouble. There's the execute. Liv gets one. Paladin, a little bit of a drive-through right there. I was here if you needed me, but Liv seems fine on his own.
Yeah, and that may have been a consequence of that level 1 play. The experience going over to the Akali hits that level 6 mark a little bit before Peekaboo expects him to. And Ignite versus Ignite, the summoner goes down. Very easy cleanup. He gets the flash advantage as well. Liv maintains the use of his summoner, so very nicely played out of the mid laner of Emprox. Now sitting 2-0 on the Akali, all without shopping with that first sled of gold.
Look at the items coming out of Liv right now. That was huge. As this is OCS I love. Cloud Drake after Cloud Drake. When I come back next week, I'm just going to go through all my games and bring you an actual pie chart to show you what I mean, that I only get the clouds.
Do you reckon you do? I reckon it's confirmation bias. I reckon they're probably evenly split. You're going to have to now do the work and actually prove it.
I'm going to do the work and prove it.
I reckon it's confirmation bias. That's my claim.
I don't think you remember our first week together.
I don't think I do either.
That was the one where we got, I think it was 9 out of 10 Cloud Drakes in a row.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, we had like 3 games with triple Cloud Drakes in a row.
That's impossible.
It was... yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. And I remember you getting more and more frustrated about it. As we're seeing a cheeky invade by Yaley right now, trying to get that red buff, but he is sitting right where Paladin wants him. Here comes the engage. It's level 6 versus level 5. It doesn't matter. Paladin yet another kill.
No flash, not even a ghost there to get Yaley out of anything.
Peekaboo misses with the ultimate, and Paladin arrives to help. 2 more kills going Emprox's way.
Emprox are straight styling on UTS right there. The Akali dodges out of the ulti. This is an engage.
Frolic flashed out of the hook, and it actually wound up hitting Cadence. That said, they're not going to continue with this one.
Yeah, Aftershock does get procced, but no level 6 for the Nautilus means that he can't follow up that engage. Summoner advantage was there, but that was a solo kill in the jungle, a solo kill in the mid lane, and Emprox getting a summoner advantage down bot with a Hex Flash. So
yeah, I was about to bring that up. I don't think I've ever seen an Hex Flash.
What do you mean? Ever?
Pretty much.
What?
Low elo, we don't do things like Hex Flash.
Hex Flash is banger summoner.
Here we go. Midas trying to turn something around onto Berserker. Props an early flash, but that's about it.
Yeah, I actually really like that play from Midas. We didn't see how it started, but probably faked a recall sitting in the bush and baits Berserker to use abilities on the wave. As soon as the E comes out, hits him with the ulti. So kill threat with a flash down from Berserker certainly negated somewhat. And as a Kennen sitting here, down a little bit of CS given the early death that he did sustain, but has the Klepto to start building that gold lead.
And we're seeing Peekaboo actually steps up aggressive against Livid.
Again.
This could be a poor decision, and Paladin was there to help, but not needed. Another solo kill for Liv.
This is going straight up bad to us. That's a 0-4 Aurelia. He is not doing damage for a very long time. You just saw him buy the Jiram's Fist. Okay, no, he's thinking about the Hex Drink. I was going to say, he's going straight up like Sterak's first buy. I don't want to die anymore, but it's not going to be the case. Looking for some magic resist, and I think given that he's been solo killed 4 times, probably the way to start this one off.
Yeah, this is not the start UTS wanted by any stretch.
This just sucks. Yeah. That hurts.
Time to start playing around the bot lane, perhaps, for UTS. Maybe get this Ezreal and Lux going a bit earlier in the game to counteract what's been happening in both the mid and top side. But then you're going to have to try and engage and get a kill on a Nautilus Sivir.
Yeah, very hard lane to gank already. Berserker's going to have his TP in about a minute as well, so you'll be fighting through potential TP flanks. Akali is going to have infinite priority in the mid lane. And I always say, if your mid lane is significantly losing, doing things in the side lane becomes seemingly impossible. Because you will always, always, always end up in a numbers mismatch. Their mid laner guaranteed to get there first. They'll just wander right down the river. And if you are in this sort of situation where you are behind,
Peekaboo is once again
stun.
getting in trouble, though, but there's just too much damage coming out of Paladin already with the Warrior and the Phage. Solo kills Peekaboo.
What can he do? He gets solo killed by the Akali. He's like, yeah, I'll buy some MR. Walks back to lane, gets solo killed by the Rek'Sai. Where's the cloth armor? Build your Ninja Tabby and the Merc Tread. Stack boots on boots. Because, yeah, this is not getting any better anytime soon.
No, it's not. But here comes something going UTS's way. A kill in the bot side. The damage from Cadence and Frolics brings down Artek. But Mboma is actually going to try and turn around. Walks right into a root, however. Frolic has the damage. Cadence has even more. And there is 2 kills for UTS.
Cadence, Frolic get reunited. Week number 7. And all of a sudden, that's a straight up 2v2. Very nicely played on the bottom side. And Ezreal just sitting on the tier, just sitting on the sheen. Has that item mismatch and able to take him down. TP still not available there for the Sivir either, so this wave is going to get pushed in. Won't be able to catch that one, and UTS are going to walk away with an advantage on one side of the map. Look, the other side is genuinely the Donald Glover meme from Community walking into a house on fire. They haven't saved the game just yet, but silver lining somewhere on the map.
Well, they have something they can play around, and maybe UTS can get this game late enough that this Ezreal will become more online. But the mid side, yeah, it is just a disaster. So Rift Herald used to get some plating. For Mprox, teleports used to try and stop it from Cadence, actually.
Yeah, and I actually really like this play. It's just adding insult to injury. The Rift Herald immediately gets taken, thrown in mid lane, so Lived gets a piece of the gold. Mprox are very obviously looking at this map, and they're like, let's just break it open. As soon as mid turret dies, then Akali gets a long lane and the side lane. It becomes ever so easy for us to start cracking turrets elsewhere and opening up the map significantly. Whilst they are kind of tied to lanes, their opportunities somewhat less so, but see, they're still on the cards. Midas maybe in a little bit of trouble as an engage is happening top side.
It is. You can see the map as Paladin is moving in right now, and it doesn't look like Midas has enough, but he has the damage to possibly bring down Berserker. That stopwatch actually may have saved Berserker's life, and with the gray health, he is back to near full strength. Midas can't do much. Down he goes.
Feels bad for the Kennen. Almost got the kill. Tiniest bit of HP away, but as you mentioned, Pike healing is absolutely disgusting. Paladin steals the kill instead of giving Berserker his cut of that one.
2v1 situation. He has help going actually for UTS, though. Frolic trying to do what he can, but Yaley is the one who's nearly dead already. Liv gets one, flashes over the wall. Follow flash from Peekaboo is there, and there is the snipe from Frolic.
Okay, 1v4. That's 4 members. He does get taken down, so the 1-for-1 is the trade eventually. Shutdown gold does go over, but it's a very scary Akali.
Yeah, but the shutdown gold went to the support. It went to Frolic.
Look, honestly, I'm really glad it went to bottom lane. Like, I don't care whether it went to the Ezreal, went to the Lux. Definitely needed to go down there. Peekaboo.
Everyone wants in on taking down poor Peekaboo. Ultimate's used to hold him in place. He's running towards the wrong tower. He'll go down. So now, jungle, bot lane, and mid have all kind of gotten their own sort of solo kill on Peekaboo. And all that's left is Pike.
That was his vacation. That was his moment of respite. He's like, okay, Lived is dead. Thank God. Take him off the map. He's been removed by my teammates, and wants to push the wave out. All of a sudden, Sivir and Nautilus rotate over. Very nice spell shield from the Sivir secures that kill.
Bot side of the map's in a lot of trouble. Cadence is the target already so low. Will be brought down by Mboma. Frolic gets to the safety of the tower, but another pick. This could lead to a bot tower plating and tower possibly going down.
Yeah, looking to continue pressuring onto this one. Paladin retreats immediately back to the jungle. Maybe they're looking to repeat this dive. That's an engaged. Stun does land.
Yeah, Berserker looking for the solo kill. Throws Midas underneath the tower, but Midas might actually be able to turn around. Forces the flash out of Berserker and then drops the... Oh, with the snipe! Midas gets the kill!
Oh, turns it around. Of course, Akali is here to clean this one up, but gets himself the solo kill. Berserker didn't have the ulti. If that was available, another 10 seconds on the cooldown, that would have been a solo kill. Very nicely played. Stun, hook into turret, but not going to be the case. Midas able to turn that one around. Very nice snipe, cleans it up. And once again, this is exactly what I was saying. You can't do anything in the side lanes because Akali will come. Walks up the river. Very easy takedown. Flash was not there from the cannon and walks up, hits him with a Hex tech and hits him with a Q. Very easy takedown for the lift.
It was, and like, that's unfortunate. I do have to give Midas credit, though. He is actually still fighting and still fighting good engages for him. And considering the kill differential right now, you'd expect the gold lead to be a lot more in Mprox's favor. Yeah. Being only 4K down for UTS actually isn't as bad as it could be.
Yeah, it could certainly be worse. And I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that the mid lane turret hasn't broken. It will very soon now that they've opted in for the 1-3-1, but UTS haven't been denied quadrants of the map. They've just been kind of dying in all their lanes, but the CS is fairly even across the board. It's only 20 CS lead in mid lane, and that is the biggest of all of them. It's not like Mprox have been like forcing them off, forcing them back to inner turrets, diving here and there. It really is a collection of individual outplays more so than an effort to pick on a single lane right now. But a dive is certainly on the cards. Berserker's going to walk over a pink ward, so UTS immediately danger ping and walk away from this mid turret.
Yeah, they will concede that mid tower for now. All members of Mprox actually rotated towards that mid lane to look for something, and they're still actually looking. It seems Berserker was trying to get a cheeky pick onto anyone really, but he's not going to find it. Tower does go down, and with that, we're seeing pings on the bot side of the map. That's definitely where Lived seems to be going right now. And will UTS respond?
Have vision in the bush, did Berserker, so just looking for a cheeky blind hook there, not able to quite find it. Frolic doing his best with the Lux. Grants you vision inside the E so you can clear out bushes from distance. Kind of check things before you face check with your squishy little head. Just going to sweep out that one once again, but very nice play from Mprox. Just as I was saying, they've kind of been winning all the lanes in isolation. I say that, probably not bottom lane, they did get 2v2 killed, but they've been winning the map in isolation between the three. Eventually they group up, break mid turret, immediately follows with a side lane turret, and you can see just how easy it is to open up the map once the mid lane is push-inable.
I feel so bad for Peekaboo right now because he's still being sent to try and match Livid wherever Livid goes, but Livid is just so far ahead. There really is nothing Peekaboo can do without just instantly getting solo.
It's probably the best decision at this point. Like, he just has to cop it and be like, I'm going to farm what I can. Because if you send Frolic and Cadence to that lane, Akali's straight up 1v2s. If you send Midas to that lane, he's getting solo killed across the board. It's almost like you made this bed, go and die in it, or actually don't die, please, for the love of God. We don't need a 7th one on the scoreboard. And it does give them access to potentially look for things through other lanes so far. But 5,000 gold, up from 4 a couple of minutes ago, is the lead. The big hurdle is yet to come here from UTS, though. Yes, Double Air Drake is in the back pocket, but 2.5 minutes away from the Baron buff. It's going to be very difficult to contest when all of your lanes are just being shoved in. Here we go.
Livid looking for that solo kill on Midas we were talking about before, and good patience coming out of the Akali gets the kill.
Yeah, very nicely played. Lived on this Akali has done a very good job of dodging abilities with the E. Goes forwards, ulties out of the Thunderstorm there, and bides his time, as you mentioned. Paladin looking for Frolic.
Yeah, they may have got a pick right here. The follow-up ultimate coming out of Yaley, but Paladin's a bit too tanky, and with the blasting cone will escape. Here comes Berserker trying to lead Mprox into more action. Won't find it this time.
It was a very nice read there from Frolic. Knew the Rek'Sai was coming into the jungle, sitting there, not moving, not activating the Tremor Sense, but unfortunately pops his jungler into Narnia and not able to follow up the rest of that with a kill. Berserker, of course, rotating over now. Finished the Ghostblade, has the team out on the Mobies, so you saw how fast he gets across the map.
Yeah, and as all this is going on, more play for Livid to continue to push the side lanes, get that last outer tower down before Baron is up, so map priority should continue to remain in Mprox's favor. UTS still playing reactively. It's going to be, as you mentioned before, so hard for UTS to even attempt a Baron steal at this stage because they're going to be walking in, I feel, to all of Mprox's vision, walking into an Akali that can one-bop pretty much anyone on the team. It's not going to be fun.
Yeah, and they have like the Assassins with Pyke. All Pyke needs is that single kill, and I can guarantee you, lived on this Akali 7-1 will give you that kill. If this was a Dark Seal during the lane game, then he'd absolutely have stacks on Medjai's right now, but he's not going to be the case. But face-checking a Baron through a choke against a Nort, Civ, or Akali Pyke comp feels like a definitely very difficult task. And the most annoying thing about Akali is when she gets this far ahead is like, yes, the ability to one-shot your backline, but that kind of happens in League of Legends when a solo laner gets killed, gets kills no matter what they're playing. They can be a tank, and if Ornn is 5-0, he will one-shot your AD carry in 15 minutes, right? But Akali is the slipperiness. Once you get into the side lane, trying to pick on her and get that shutdown that you feel like you so desperately need is just infinitely difficult, and she can just kind of ring around the rosy, has the Shroud to buy some time, and infinite dashes to get away. Hicks on opposite sides of the map. Liv has found himself access to Peekaboo, did flash away as UTS are looking to set this one up.
Yeah, Berserker is going to be the target. It's completely none the wiser right now. Midas will be the first one to step forward. Right into Yaeli goes Berserker, but what a stun! Keeps Berserker alive. It doesn't matter. Yaeli is still going to try to chase this one down, and Boma's there to help.
Yeah, surprised Hecarim ulti didn't come out to try and turn this one around, but Berserker uses the flash. Actually gets flash trade there with Midas, so comes out the victor massively. Able to skirt away from that one, just barely.
Baron has entered the battlefield. We have passed that 20-minute mark, and the first team to react will be Mprox. They're going to try and clear out this vision from UTS, you would think. In the end, nope, they're just sort of going to check it for themselves, make sure no sneaky backdoor has gone down, and continue pushing the side waves as well as mid lane.
Yeah, they want to start setting up the side waves. You can see the deploy comes out, and they immediately put Akali, who's TP-less topside, around the Baron, and Berserker goes bot. Dodged out of that gank and holds onto his TP, so now they can start setting up the map for this Baron, for the fight that eventually will ensue. Kind of expect that, given the crab is in the hands of UTS, they're not going to start it up soon, but eventually they will have enough vision control to be able to take this one down.
Yep, I mean, instead, you know, if you can't start Baron, might as well do the next best thing around the Baron pit and get that deep vision in so you can track any sort of aggressive posturing out of UTS to possibly contest it. That said, though, it does appear as if UTS was able to get it right back. Frolic doing his job as the support, getting vision a bit more in their favor, but it's not a perfect clear. There's still a lot of, you know, of those gaps which Mprox has vision of. Dangerous situations for UTS.
Yeah, wards will die in a couple of minutes, and as the crab just died, they now have nothing past their own wolf camp, so the pressure is really now on for UTS. Like, they have tools to be able to check. Lux ulti grants vision, Ezreal ulti grants vision. They do have the blue orb still in the hands of Cadence as well, so out of all the comms to be behind and have to check from a distance, this is certainly a good one. This is going to die very quickly. Already started up here by Mprox.
Yep, Mprox is definitely making that move to start the Baron, but they're actually going to back away. They're not going to fully commit for it now because they believe there might be a pick, and they find it on Yaeli. Should get eaten by this Mprox team, and they may want more. Frolic force the flash. Cadence trying to heal away as well. Berserker, good hook, but no follow-up there. That said, Baron pings are going down. Midas was on the opposite end of the map, had teleport available. Watch the control ward on the top side of the map. That actually might be where Midas attempts a crazy teleport play.
Yeah, could look for a bit of a flank here. Cannon, if he can get to the back line, certainly could dissuade this one from happening, but the Akali is in. Frolic in danger. Yeah,
Frolic's in danger, and Frog's already down. Berserker, not the one who gets the kills, actually living. Oh, Cadence does not connect with the poke back, so still very healthy health bars on Mprox.
Okay, so Yaeli is now back up on the map, and you can see Mprox don't want to start the Baron, knowing that he could run towards it. Hecarim very fast at this point of the game. Not yet finished his Triforce though, but silver linings once again. UTS, they do hold on for a little bit longer. That's a couple of minutes before the Baron has been started up, and yes, they lost a couple of picks, but better than a Baron buff.
It is better than a Baron buff, but that said, they're not out of danger yet of, you know, losing that Baron buff. I mean, it just takes Mprox one quick reset, and I imagine they're going to put the pressure right back on it. Yaeli trying to do what he can, perhaps, to get some semblance of vision in the area. Does avoid the control ward in that bush, but Midas might be caught out. There is the hard engage. Yes, Midas' ultimate has stuns. He's trying to buy time, but the Rek'Sai ultimate should help chase him down. Berserker is there as well. Midas is not getting out of this one.
Yeah, the chase is there. No flash for the Cannon. He bought some distance, but some was not enough. Emprox now eyes on the Baron once again. You can see Liv's trying to clear out a bunch of that vision. Has the sweeper in his back pocket, but Paladin is fairly low. So maybe the start of the worm is not going to be the case right now. Actually cancelled his recall, so second guessing their decision. UTS have some nice vision around that one. And I like the ward kind of at the corner of Baron that doesn't get spotted out by a pink ward in the pit. So they will know if the start is there from Emprox.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of cheeky vision wards right now for UTS. You have that one just outside the pit, which isn't spotted. Yeah. Still have that control ward in that top bush that got placed there before when they attempted that gank onto Berserker before. It's interesting situation. UTS, again, I have to kind of commend them for playing defensively. I feel like they should be more behind considering how it's going, but they are still bleeding out.
Yeah, you mentioned that ward, right? It is kind of simultaneously useless and very useful, because that will never get cleared. The vision it provides is negligible, not going to see anything useful, but as you mentioned, Midas now has his flash in a couple of seconds. If Emprox start up a Baron and Kennen gets into the backline, yes, he's not finished his Proto Belt or anything like that, going for the Hex Tech and onto the Morellos, but if he can get onto the backline, does have enough damage to kind of cause a ruckus, and even an Aurelia this far behind has that utility, has the stuns, has the disarms that can be ever so useful, and even with a reset, he can get himself a couple of kills.
Another Ocean Drake as well picked up by Emprox, their second Ocean Drake of the game to go with their 2 Cloud Drakes, so a lot of dragons going Emprox this way. I'm sure they probably wish that those were maybe Mountains and Infernals, but at this stage with the lead they have, it shouldn't matter too much.
Yeah.
Something else that I'm sort of like noticing is I want to give Peekaboo some credit. Like after, you know, the first 15 minutes where he was just getting, you know,
he's just chain inting.
Yeah, he stopped the bleeding. He has not actually died since then, since like the 0-6 start. So yes, his CS probably isn't ever going to be as good as Livid is this one, but you know, it's still a respectable matching of his Midas top laner. I mean, they have similar death counts, they have similar CS counts. He's not dying hard anymore.
Oh, maybe in the spot of mother again. No, actually is going to buy himself some space. But yes, you are correct. Has found access to side lane farm and just been playing underneath his turret as much as possible. Once again, did lose the flash. That's second time in a row he's had to match Lived in a side lane and flashed away immediately upon showing. Emprox are playing this one fairly slowly, right? They have had many opportunities to start up the Baron. Blue Orb is going to come through before they even hit the Baron, so UTS have an idea of what's going on. And once again, they've gone for this deploy. Berserker standing kind of running goalie between the pit and the UTS lineup, looking for a pick.
Yeah, they will have spotted the Baron's health with the use of the Ezreal ultimate. Kennen opting not to use teleport yet. I'm kind of keeping my eye on Midas to see when he commits. That said, Yaley is trying to get around the flank as well, has a blasting cone to possibly engage, look for that steal. Baron's getting quite low. Here he comes. He's a bit early, and I don't think he's going to get it. Baron health is low, and it's secured by the Nautilus. So Emprox gets the Baron, and they're looking to get kills as well. Already Mbobo is able to take down Yaley. Good hook connecting onto Peekaboo. Down he goes. Midas has a nice 3-man stun, but not enough damage to bring down Mbobo just yet. Surviving on a sliver, and it's a triple kill for this Sivir.
And health bars blinking, yes, but Emprox, they get the Baron, they get the team fight, and Cadence is the only member standing between them and victory. Is this push enough to straight up end the game? 15 seconds on the jungler, 20 seconds or about on everyone else. Inhib now exposed.
I mean, it's going to be a race. They do have the help from some of those Baron minions. Berserker trying to get that last pick that may have secured it. That said, an inhibitor is about to go down. Yaley is back up, Frolics up in 5. Emprox don't believe they can end it just yet.
Yeah, once again, they go for the defensive option. Reset is here, looking to reset the map and start up once again. Use the Baron buff, spend their gold. As Yaley, honestly, fairly close contest onto the Baron, yes? 2-level lead there for Paladin means that the Smite fight certainly should have gone his way, but very close to falling down. Got the Baron smited to about 100, 200 HP, able for Artek to be able to clean that one up. Yeah. And you can see sort of split calls there from UTS. The TP wasn't for the huge flank for the fight in the pit. They were really just looking for the steal and then looking to try and defend the push after that point if they could. Unfortunately, the steal wasn't to be. They do lose their inhib.
Yep, they lose the inhib. Baron buff still on all 5 members of Emprox, and I vision a world where they're going to look to possibly end this game with this Baron buff right now. Once again, they're splitting up to that 1-3-1 composition. No one actually stepping up to sort of contest with Livid right now. Instead, they're UTS's responses is to send everyone to that bot side. I'm a bit surprised that actually Mprox is sending everyone bot side as well. Maybe they thought UTS would commit more for that pick, but Super Minions are entering the base through the mid lane. Still no one responding to Livid.
It's an interesting deploy, but I think on some level it does make sense. Berserker on himself in a side lane isn't going to get as much done as the Akali, and he really does require like people to get the reset, and then
yeah, this could be the fight that UTS wants. They get 2 kills right away. Berserker is also caught in the middle of no man's land. That will be 3 kills going UTS's way. A bit of a miscommunication on that engage.
Continuing the tradition of today, wasted Barons galore. Top inhib will fall down at the cost, but UTS certainly holding on much stronger than they should have in this situation. 3 kills to nothing. Able to find themselves in a defensible position. The Nexus no longer exposed. And I was going to say, it kind of makes sense putting Akali in the side lane as opposed to the Pyke. Because then like a Naught Hook can give you the reset and Pyke can run rampant at a team fight. And Lived is always going to get more done, given that he's just 9-1 and literally massive, right? But unfortunately, when you split your numbers way too thin, looking for that deep flank and you don't do your due diligence there, check your bush, that is just impossible to say. Kennen turns that one around, CC on multiple targets, and 3 of them fall down.
3 of them fall down, so that does buy UTS some time. It does make it hard for Mprox to possibly end the game off of this Baron. With the wave clear from the Ezreal as well, like Mprox, yes, they get the turret, but they can't really push too much further. Dragon is about to spawn. It will be our 3rd Cloud Drake of the game. And with that, you know, they are going to commit for said Dragon. Buys more time for UTS to play a defensive, maybe wait for those inhibs to respond. This next Baron is probably going to be another chance for UTS to get back into this one.
Yeah, the first one definitely should have ended the game, right? Like this is a big botching of being able to use the buff there. Should have been able to close that one out. They have a huge Akali, huge Sivir, multiple members being able to be recipients to that one, but it may just be another 2 Baron game. I feel like the game time for today has been very long. We have had a bunch of pauses, a bunch of DCs and stuff, but yeah, this team's playing it fairly slow, not looking to opt in for the early ends.
I think that's actually been a trend I've noticed with the OCS as a whole. Like, as we've gone further and further into the season, game times have been getting longer and longer, which is sort of the opposite of what I would expect on paper.
Yeah, I feel like casting OPL last week, Jake Spawn was saying that the average game time internationally is 24 minutes. Which is like, that's a 20-minute Baron fight, and the game immediately with a Baron push, right? Those,
yes.
That's the sort of games you are seeing at the very top level of League of Legends right now. And it makes sense when you've got Akali's, Aurelia's, Aatrox's, all of these sort of champions. The team that gets ahead can kind of pull the trigger on anything they want very quickly. Have to snowball that one out.
Well, Mprox is ahead right now. Are they going to be able to pull this trigger and possibly end the game? Lived drawing a lot of attention of UTS towards that mid lane, but they have to be careful. They only have 1 inhibitor left, and that is where the majority of Mprox is. And yeah, the tower should be going down right now. Liv still looking for an opportunity perhaps to solo Peekaboo. Tower's brought down to half, but not down yet.
Yeah, top wave now crashing on the Nexus though, so a 3rd lane to deal with. Liv kind of shepherding the UTS lineup towards their base, but oh, that's actually a very nice stun landing. Big
Liv
chunk.
Chunked quite low. Now they're committing for a Yali. Forces the stopwatch out of Liv around the hourglass, but they don't have the follow-up stun from Peekaboo, so Akali will escape for now, but that might stop this push.
Yeah, inhib was definitely being contested there, but the chunk is enough to dissuade it. 30 seconds on the Baron spawn, so resets will come out. UTS have a little bit of time here, closer to their base, able to push this wave out ever so slowly, I guess. They don't have a champion that's actually good with dealing with these waves.
No, they don't, and they actually lost a Nexus tower amidst all of that. So, I mean, yeah, they're still alive, but they definitely bled for it.
Yes.
Not in terms of champions, but in terms of structures.
I've actually always said losing a single Nexus turret, kind of irrelevant. More of a meme more often than not, but doesn't really do anything. If they're on your Nexus, they're kind of killing it or not. The turret is not going to stand in their way. Does kind of hold back minions better than anything else, though. TP is there from Midas if he wants to get to this fight, but Peekaboo is so far away, and 1 member's already dead.
And that's Yali, the jungler, so I really don't see any attempt to steal right now. Berserker is also looking for a pick in the jungle as Mprox is just slowly taking their time with this Baron. I don't see a steal coming down. Berserker's actually quite low from that little engage.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Baron secured by Mprox. Once again, Baron power play. Will this be the one that ends it?
Yeah, Berserker semi-caught out there. 10% HP, but of course Pyke able to heal that one back up. Lost his flash in the jungle as well. 20 seconds left on Yele, though. I'm honestly not sure if Yele has cast his Ignite button this game. I'd have to go back and check the VOD, but I personally haven't seen it so far. Interesting. Got to see that one, but this is a single Nexus turret and a team fight away from victory.
Yeah, they're conceding the inhibitor. They want to try and defend it. Ultimate's being used. Midas going in super deep, but only gets the stun on Artek. Meanwhile, Pikachu is trying to do what he can to Berserker, but instead it should be both of those members of UTS going down. This Sonya's Hourglass buys only so much time before it's a double kill in Paladin's favor. Down goes the next Nexus Tower, or does it? Turning him in around on the bot side. They get a pick onto this Akali, and all of a sudden, Frolic and Cadence might try and mount a reasonable defense. Nexus Tower on one auto, but no one's able to do it. The cannon brings it down. Good hook drags Yaley into the team. He tries to turn it on Paladin, drops his own stopwatch to buy time, and finally the Nexus starts to take a beating. Yaley, though, trying to do what he can. Cadence gets one kill. Health bar so low on Emprox, Paladin, and Artek. They have to be careful here. Frolic, though, is unable to secure the defense, and in the end, Emprox wins.
5 Dragons, 2 Barons, and that is the end of the game. Fairly slow there from Emprox, but never looked like UTS had a control on that one. That was a couple of solo lanes going disastrous fairly early on into that one.
I'm still surprised that game went as long as it did out of Emprox. I feel there's been a couple games throughout the OCS where Aurelias have gotten very far ahead, but then nothing seems to have come from it. This time there was an Akali getting very far ahead and nothing coming from it, but I don't know, they're similar champions to me, I guess. I feel as if teams sometimes struggle in the OCS when an individual player gets a massive lead.
Yeah, certainly the case. Like, if you're looking at that game, UTS haven't won a single game this season. They had a 0-6 Aurelia at like 10 minutes into that game. Like, you certainly have to look at a 32 minute. I'm not sure the exact time to end that game, but that is probably a little bit of a criticism to Emprox. Individual performances, though, I think lived absolutely outstanding on that Akali. Unfortunately, did die in the base of his opponents there. Made end of the game a little bit harder, but yes, Emprox do pick up the victory, increasing their scoreline in the OCS 2019. Don't go anywhere. We will be back after 3 minutes.